Hello everyone, my name is Soken and welcome back to Comic Book Wednesday. Today we're going over the story of young Wally West and his origins in becoming the Absolute Universe's Flash. Now, Absolute Flash's first story is 7 issues long, making it the longest hero introduction. So go ahead and get ready for a bit of a longer video as I introduce you to the next hero of the Absolute Universe, the Flash. 1944 to Jay Garrick and Eobard Thawne, who are working on a machine in the Mojave Desert in which Thawne pushes Garrick into an energy field, seemingly killing him as he shouted Thawne's name, creating what became modern day Fort Fox. 75 years later, it is 2028. Colonel West goes off to assemble a team, making a round throughout the country, recruiting former military personnel for the experimentation of Project Olympus, giving birth to the team consisting of Captain Boomerang, Trickster, Glider, and Captain Cold. We finally meet Wally, who is caught sneaking around the military base his father is stationed at by Barry Allen, who escorts him inside and shows him one of the military projects he was working on, where they were doing experiments beyond just the laws of physics, but also biology, up until they're interrupted by Wally's father, who scolds him and Dr. Allen, especially for showing Wally confidential technology in which Colonel West tells Wally to go home. His father walked in on him playing the guitar, talking about what he saw on the base, which Wally talks about his frustrations in return, the constant move and the neglect. Colonel West tries to justify it, but Wally brings up Barry, which made Colonel West mad, considering Barry put his son in danger. Wally, annoyed with his father, got up and walked out into the rain, returning to the base for Project Olympus, looking for Barry, where he saw a small alien-like monkey, which made him run off scared until he walked into the room while Barry had been activating a machine he'd been working on, telling him to run as he walked past the yellow tape. And went haywire as Wally was exposed to the same force that supposedly killed Jay Garrick. Barry reached out of the barrier and reached to save Wally from the same force. As Barry was about to save him, the machine was shut down by an enraged Colonel West, who made his way into the experimentation room, scolding and wailing on Barry, enraged by the fact that he put his son in danger yet again. The fight promptly ended as energy in the room started to crackle, the force of the energy shaped like Wally talking to him. Barry interjected himself as Wally struggled to keep a solid form, Barry trying to coach him through the pain, only for Wally's shape to release a wave of energy, sending Barry flying off of him. Scared of what had happened, and Wally ran far and fast, in a flash even, as he left the lab. The base, he eventually stopped in the middle of the desert before he could get his thoughts straight. He ran into a cave at a normal speed, Captain Cold and Boomerang chasing after him while Glider and Trickster flanked around until Wally found a secluded spot where he could sit down scared. The body of the now deceased Barry Allen laying a few yards away despite running for miles. Time to rest as he got up and started running, being followed by Cold and cut off by Boomerang. He ran out and in yet another blur, out of control, he passed Glider. Being scared and cornered, he let out a burst of energy just like the one that killed Barry, but no damage was done as Trickster protected the group with multiple energy fields. Irritated, Wally broke free from the one trapping him, phasing through it, and ran off. Glider chased after him, nearly catching up, only for her to blink and watch him disappear in a blur, which caught her off guard. Wally is focused on his escape, but he doesn't just see the present anymore, but he sees the past and the future all warped into one. He eventually ran out of energy and collapsed. The team went back after and hesitantly released their secret weapon, the same small green monkey Wally had seen in the lab. The team, and more specifically the small ape, followed Wally to an old barn as he had to stop since he was running low on energy, not having eaten for a while. The monkey made his way inside, walking in on Wally, who was startled at first but recognizes it. Upon establishing a psychic bond, the monkey saw into Barry's past and Barry into the monkeys. He no longer wanted to track Barry as they saw each other the same, the monkey telling Wally his name is Grodd. It didn't take long for Project Olympus to catch up, Grodd using his psionic powers to stop Glider and Wally using his speed to stop Boomerang. The two decided to stick together, Wally returning to the cave to take the flash route before running the distance with his new monkey companion. Wally eventually stopped running again to rest under a tree, where he fell asleep before being awoken by a nightmare, remembering his mom's funeral before looking into the grave and seeing the body of Barry, asking Wally for help, causing him to shoot awake in a panic, Grodd using his powers to calm down. The two reconvene and head into the town, Grodd hiding away in Wally's backpack, not being a fan of having to hide, as they made their way to a soup kitchen. Wally waiting in line before an older man approaches him, talking about a youth mission he and his wife run to help give children under 18 a home, at least temporarily. Wally, of course, is suspicious before a girl his age walks past it, letting him know that the retreat is legit. reassuring his nerves. Wally eventually makes his way to the shelter where he settles in, having a conversation with the girl from earlier, Linda, who continues to reassure him about the mission. Wally eventually goes to get settled in his room. Ralph, the man who invited him, making his way to meet Wally, laying down the rules around the mission. As Ralph steps away, leaving him alone, he checks on Grodd, who he catches running away and follows after him. Back in the desert, Project Olympus remained, accompanied by Colonel West, examining an excess trace of energy left by Wally. When Trickster tried to touch the energy, she referenced it as a gateway of sorts. Upon getting too close, it exploded. Colonel West, feeling like time was being wasted, returned to Fort Fox, not having found his son. He returned to the site where the machine exploded, where we are introduced to Dr. Eleanor Thawne, who confronts him for snooping around the site, trying to find out what happened to his son, while Thawne knew what was happening since they were tracking him through Grodd, leaving him out of the loop, seeing him as more of a tool, a miracle, and not the 15-year-old boy his father insisted he was. Eleanor was using him and Grodd to capture a few other escape projects, each who were being held in different vats. Wally finds his next opponent, a blob or man made out of lava, standing upright. Project Olympus's escaped experiment, Heatwave. Wally is face to face with Heatwave. At first they reach out to each other, but he shocks the lava monster, causing him to become aggressive, yelling about how much it hurts. He runs off, being reminded of the desert as Project Heatwaves makes its way to the surface and attacks the people of the mission, Ralph putting himself in danger to protect the kids. Meanwhile, Grodd is in the sewers trying to comfort the young speedster, saying, "Okay to be scared, but people are scared too. Heat need Wally." And with another small push, Wally suits up and makes his way to save the day, shoving the Sriracha monster before he gets a chance to attack Ralph and the trap team again, telling Ralph to leave. Before he gets to work absorbing the heat off of Heatwave, reverting him back to normal, while Wally seems to transcend before Mr. Dibney brings him back down. The others trying to help, but he hears the choppers from Project Olympus being sent after him, and he takes off, not wanting to cause any more harm. Meanwhile, Thawne is briefing the team on capturing Mick, Rory, Wally, and Grodd, while Colonel West sneaks off, finding a shuttle and multiple trapped aliens. Seeing everything, he calls Wally and is sent to voicemail. Before he can finish, Wally answers, and as Colonel West talks to Wally, he has a bag shoved on his head and he's brought to his knees, with Eleanor shattering his phone with her cane. Eleanor's getting ready to have Colonel West executed. He stops, with him pleading with her. He just wants to help his son. Eleanor lets him up submissively with a knowing smirk. He is a part of the team after all. West asks her about everything, what was in the tubes, and Eleanor responds, "This is our predecessor. They found it first. They beat us to it. They found God." We leave Colonel West's story there as we continue to follow a hungry Wally walking through a storm with a scared Grodd. Unable to afford any food, he uses his speed to try and steal a bunch, only to pass out from hunger and wake up in a cell at the county jail, where the team for Project Olympus breaks him out. Wally, not wanting to leave without Grodd, gets suited up and again goes to look for him, only to run into the next threat, Weather Wizard. The fight between them begins as he gets zapped by lightning, being blindsided, and Grodd making his way to Wally, trying to wake him up, pointing towards the threat. Wally tries to talk to him, but Weather Wizard assumes he's trying to take him back to Fort Fox. Wally mentions Barry, which only enrages the Weather Wizard, who zaps Wally a second time. And this time, Wally manages to absorb the energy, realizing that it fueled him. The young speedster got active and knocked out Weather Wizard. When the fight finally ends, Grodd and Wally get ready to take off, Boomerang stopping him. Wally tells Boomerang he won't be going back to Fort Fox, and Boomerang says, "Neither are we. We're the weapons now. We can do whatever we want. We can take whatever we want. So how about it, kid? Want to go rogue?" Ending Wally West, the Absolute Flash's first story. And with the story wrapping up there, thank you for tuning in, and make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know if you enjoyed the content. Next week, we're going to expand on the greater Absolute Universe with Absolute Green Lantern. If you're new, check out my other 4 videos, and if you want to keep up, make sure to check out your local comic shops to find the issues releasing every month, or Volume 1 releasing December 23rd, 2025. If you don't want to or physically can't collect physical copies, you can also support the creators by checking out Globix Comics or DC Infinite. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great week. Hope to see you next time.